Oh my God, we're here. We're here in the void.
Well,
that must mean a major tentpole release has come up.
We're talking about Jurassic Park Dominion, or Jurassic World Dominion. Did we see that yet?
Jurassic Pork. Yeah, we saw it. It came out. It was okay, but not very good.
Okay, we did our review of Jurassic World Dominion. There are dinosaurs in it,
and the plot was stupid.
And the plot was stupid, but Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum all came back to be in the picture.
And it was nice to see them, even though they didn't have enough to do.
And they had too many characters and too much to do, too many dinosaurs and too many subplots that were stupid. And then the movie ended with a big explosion and action fight scene with dinosaurs.
With dino action, and then...
Dino action. And then the credits started rolling and people barfed up their popcorn in the parking lot.
The characters of the movie learned a valuable lesson to not mess with nature.
And there was plenty of diversity!
That's very funny. But you know, we're really here to talk about The Batman.
We saw that.
You know, I mean, it's a masterpiece. I don't know why we waited so long to see it.
I have so much to say about The Batman. But first, we're going to talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show on Disney+.
Because it was Mike's turn to make us watch something.
Everyone's been torturing me. Rich's brilliant idea to watch Star Trek Picard Season 2.
Hey, that hurt me just as much in the long run.
A self-inflicted television wound.
I have had enough of your stupid patronizing.
But out of curiosity, I turned on the first episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show because I pay for Disney Plus, but I never watch anything on it. So I figured, why not get my $8 worth this month? I'll watch the first episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and I think I rather enjoyed it enough to continue watching more, but we're going to talk about that. But I think the reason why I found it lovely and charming and fun the very first episode was because the bar had been set so low from my traumatic experience with Star Trek Picard. I'll literally enjoy having fecal matter rubbed into my eyeballs. So I enjoyed the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
If you told me when I was like 15 years old that I would be paid to watch the new Star Wars and Star Trek products,
and it would feel like a chore,
and that I would dread doing it, I would have thought you were crazy. So we were here the other day, and you said, "Oh, hey, we're gonna watch the new Kenobi. We're gonna do a review in a couple days. You gotta watch 4 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi." And I was like, "Oh, God damn it! I have to watch the new Star Wars product." But I enjoy the show.
Okay.
And you might be right. The bar is very low right now.
It's very low.
I'm coming at it from the perspective of someone who did not watch Picard.
Thank you, Owen.
I didn't do it for you.
I was curious to watch this just because, like, I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He's the best thing about those prequels.
He's the most boring character.
I'm not talking about characters. I'm talking about him as an actor. He's the best thing about those movies.
He is a good actor playing a very boring character.
Right. But he was brilliant casting as Obi-Wan. And so a show now that isn't the prequels, that's bringing Ewan McGregor back, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a fair shot. And then I watched half of the first episode. I was like, nah. And then you said, we're going to watch the rest of it.
Wait, what made you say nah? I'm curious.
Well, the first shot made me laugh, and this turned into a Twitter kerfuffle.
Right.
Because the first shot is the serene pulls out. All the little Jedi kids are training. They got their dumb helmets on. And then the clone troopers come in.
Right era.
That is so important to my criticism that I get that right. But they come in and they add this like After Effects wiggle transition to the shot, and it looked bad, and it made me laugh. So I posted on Twitter, I was like, this is funny. And then I got swarmed by people with stormtroopers as their avatar on Twitter. Literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Star Wars
came after you.
Star Wars simp accounts came after me to tell me I'm an idiot because they didn't think I understood what the point of the shot was.
Yeah.
I was like, no, the execution of the shot is bad.
The cameraman got scared.
The cameraman got scared. The After Effects guy who added the plug-in, he got scared.
Obi-Wan is a great mentor. As wise as Master Yoda, and as powerful as Master Windu.
I gotta say, just talking about the opening in general, though, their slick editing actually made the prequels seem a little bit meaningful and exciting. Like the little previously, remember this?
Yeah.
They edited the shit out of those boring ass movies.
Oh, sure.
I thought of a different angle on the opening shot, right? Not the camera shake, but I'm like, this is like, I just always hear like producers talking in my head, and I thought, okay, they pull back and they're like, what are they doing, right? Well, in the prequels, they're standing there with their lightsabers going like this,
those little kids.
While the training ball floats and shoots lasers at their sword, and they're like, well, how about we cool it with the lightsabers, okay? What do they do? How do you train a Jedi child? Well, I don't know. Well, how about they're just sitting there meditating, right? Oh, that's boring. Well, why don't they do some kind of Tai Chi? Okay, sure, that's visual. It's not lightsabers. It's not, and because that's
they gotta
laughable.
be doing something calm and serene, so it goes crazy when the clone troopers come in.
So meditation is too boring. Lightsabers is too silly looking. How about Tai Chi? Did Luke ever have Tai Chi training? No.
Luke had like the low budget Jedi training.
He had to
rush
version.
through that shit in 3 days.
That's true, yeah.
I'm not saying like, whatever, this is a form of Jedi martial arts, that there probably is some kind of story behind that. I don't know.
Just visually it looked goofy.
I'm thinking from a director's perspective or a producer's perspective. What do we do? You know, what happens in the Jedi Temple for 20 years while they train these kids? They just go like this? All day? What do you teach them? I guess you teach them Tai Chi in a room.
They just need to be doing something.
Something, yes.
And so far, I'm
and that
assuming
first
that
shot,
scene will
I'm
pay
sorry
off.
to interrupt. But that first shot says, this is a cheap TV show. I kept thinking of opening a shot of like an episode of Cheers. And the camera's pulling back and it's like shaky and Norm's at the bar and here comes Ted Danson and everyone claps. Like that's kind of what it felt like. And I was like, this is a cheap TV show. And I like when TV shows are cheap.
It's a cheap movie.
Yeah.
It's a relatively expensive TV show.
Because there are parts of the show that are really impressive visually.
Yeah.
And then there's other parts that look so cheap. Especially any of the action, which is so awkward.
I'm going to defend this. I think the cheapness serves the action better. Just small, more meaningful action scenes are better than 80,000 stormtroopers and CGI running around getting blown up and giant. Just 3 quick shots and you kill the 5 stormtroopers. That's a fun, quick action scene. You know what? The show is better off for it.
Sure. You're approaching it from like a story perspective, and this is the same with the opening shot for me, where I'm thinking about the execution and how awkward it is.
I agree with Rich. It's a better bridge. Like we all hated Rogue One because it was like Star Wars porn on crack. You know? And it was like too much. And then this, like when Obi-Wan's running around the little hallway set, and there's like 4 stormtroopers, and they're actual guys in costumes. And he's like, he's like like old and he's out of time. He's like out of practice, right?
That works for what they're doing with his character.
Yeah. It bridged it better, and it made it more feel more like that era than Rogue One. Rogue One's like
late 70s Star Wars, where Stormtrooper is smacking his head on the top of the set.
Yeah, and then you were talking about the Darth Vader fight with Obi-Wan.
Yes,
being awkward and looking like a fan film.
Before watching the show, I saw that clip. It like showed up as recommended on YouTube or something, and I legitimately thought it was a fan film. Like that first where he runs away, because I was like, oh, that's a funny punchline. Darth Vader shows up, and he pulls out his lightsaber, and Obi-Wan just runs behind a hill. And it was so funny to me.
The awkward thing is he runs out behind, it's like they use the same location.
Yeah, he runs out. It looks like he was running back to be in front of Vader, but he wasn't. So that's the cheapness of it. Has like.
Did you picture Vader like peeking around the pile of sand, going, "Hello, I see you."
Yeah.
You just went right over there.
I could still see your feet.
I'm a Sith Lord. You just ran 10 feet over there. I know where you're at.
Yeah,
you know what?
For me, the whole thing is this weird imbalance of things I like and things that are so cheap that they're kind of entertaining, and then stuff that's just sort of boring.
You can bitch about that encounter, but I like it better than the entire Mustafar battle in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That backflip porn.
Yeah.
You have this nice little character moment at the end of that fight in the series, Obi-Wan, where like Darth Vader, he's not trying to kill Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's old and out of shape, and Darth Vader can take him easily. He wants to make him suffer. I love that he just like uses the Force to just like spread all of this flammable material on the ground, and then he's just gonna literally rub Obi-Wan's face in it while he's on fire. That's what Darth Vader wants to do, and it's perfect. Yeah.
see, I like that moment, the actual fight. Again,
It doesn't matter because you get the
awkward.
good character moments.
Right.
You get that good character moment.
There's another reason why the Darth Vader fight is awkward, and this is probably a behind-the-scenes kind of logic, is they have Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader costume.
I was going to ask if that was the
Hayden
case.
Christensen is not David Prowse, who was
yes.
9 feet tall and a bodybuilder.
It's like you can tell that it's a skinnier guy in the suit, even though he's all black. Like it just looks weird.
It's in my head every time Vader is on screen. First, he sits down in his marble throne for his conversation, and then he's walking up the street, and they're like, the camera's like 100 miles away, and they're like, oh, shoot him low, shoot him far away. Don't have him stand next to anybody, and when you do, never see below their knees because he's standing on a box. And then when he's fighting Obi-Wan, their fight is very like linear. It's just like back and forth, and there's no like
a couple
really
very wide shots. Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well they want, I guess Hayden Christensen he's obviously in the burned up makeup, but I think he's in the suit too.
That was it for him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, what a waste. They're making a big deal about him coming back. I mean, not a waste from my perspective, but from people that like the prequels.
More shocking to me, it sounds like James Earl Jones. He's in the credits.
He does the voice, yeah.
See, I had heard that it's not technically him. He's credited, but it's like AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do some research and cut this out if that's wrong. But I think I had heard that it's not actually him doing the voice.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
He does
Because how long can he keep doing that voice?
Yeah, he's 91 years old.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, they should probably record him saying every word in the English language, and that just,
That's something they're going to be doing going forward
But
with all this shit, so they can keep making these things.
I think it's beyond the pasting words together to form a sentence, which probably would sound real janky and weird.
You're very good.
Yeah, you are very good at turning me on.
Hello, Smithers. You're quite good at turning me on.
You probably should ignore that.
There's one line he said that sounds like it was ripped straight out of the original trilogy too. I forgot which line it was.
But so yeah, you have that because everyone was like, "Well, how does Hayden Christensen turn into Darth Vader?" But David Prowse was 9 feet tall. Oh, he got his legs chopped off, and he got some robot legs that made him taller. Got it. But now Hayden Christensen is inside the suit.
It's physically in the suit.
They have to be kind of careful when you're filming Darth Vader. Well, continuing our discussion of the characters and the actors that play them, I saw a comment on the internet that showed two pictures side by side, one of Ewan McGregor from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and then it said, in 9 years, he's going to turn into this. And it had a picture of Alec Guinness from A New Hope.
What if they do a thing where at the end of this season, he sees like a giant space alien and gets so scared his hair turns white?
Oh, yeah.
That's like what they did in the prequels and Revenge of the Sith, where it's like everything has to tie together perfectly.
Right, he has to look just like him.
He has to look exactly like he does in A New Hope, so he's going to get scared and his hair's going to turn white.
What does not make sense is how an old man and a little girl escaped an Imperial checkpoint on your planet.
Do you think he was offended when the lady kept calling him old man? I'm only 50.
A child and an old man. Was it worth it?
A little girl and an elderly man. Deborah, can we change that? Can we change that line? A moderately oldish, middle-aged man who just divorced his wife for a 28-year-old. I'm still young, Moses Ingram. Is that her name, Moses Ingram? The actress, yes.
Yeah.
Stop calling me old man. I don't know why I was doing a Trump voice. It should be an Obi-Wan voice, right?
You're kind of doing Obi-Trump.
Obi-Trump. Excuse me. Deborah Chow? Could you stop calling me old man? I'm only 51.
I mean, yeah, it's not only 51. I mean...
And to her, he's an old man. And to little Leia, he's an old man.
Yeah, because Moses Ingram looks like she's like 20 on this show. Do we want to talk about her? Should we continue with casting?
Sure. Casting and characters. Let's talk about her and the Inquisitors, or whatever they call them. Those weird guys.
The Hellraiser demons.
Yeah, what's that?
The evil Jedi guys.
They go around, they track down Jedi. They're from Clone Wars cartoon.
Are they real
or something.
characters?
Oh, I don't know.
There was a bit of a fuss when the trailer for this came out because they don't look like they do in, I want to say it's like the Clone Wars cartoon.
Okay.
And people were like, they don't look exactly like they do. This show's going to be terrible.
Oh, their base that's half underwater.
Yeah.
In the basement, they have
the most secure building.
The most secure building ever made that no one would dare try to enter. So in the basement, they have suspended animation of human beings in like tanks that are frozen in time. They're Jedis.
All the Jedi that they've killed.
Oh, they're killed.
I believe that's the idea. It's all the people that died from Order 66.
Oh, so it's not. It's
my cynical brain was thinking that they put those in there, even though these are all characters that are Jedis that have been killed, to kind of imply that maybe they're not dead and they're just like.
Yeah.
I specifically think that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So they can bring back anyone they want.
Yeah.
You can get a Mace Windu show now. He gets out of the amber that he's been frozen in.
I mean,
yeah, is that what happened?
That's
it's not
cynical?
pictures of them?
No, they're 3D, whatever they are.
They're in tanks? No,
they're frozen in amber like Jurassic Park.
They're okay, so they're suspended and suspended animation.
They wisely don't explain it so they can do whatever the fuck they want in the future. Okay. If people hate the idea of these characters coming back, oh no, they're all dead. if they like, oh, these characters are all around, oh, we can bring them back. Yeah, no, they're suspended animation. It's very cynical, but very wise on their part.
See, I viewed it as like that was their trophy room of all the Jedis they killed during the Order 66.
Yeah,
it's like
the fact that they
trophy
kept
room.
them
But then they
and
wouldn't
frozen
be.
them.
If it was that, they wouldn't be like in poses like this.
That little kid with the stupid helmet.
Yeah, it would. It would just be like if they were dead, there were trophies. It would just be like this.
Yeah.
But they're mid-fruit. Whoa.
I think they did it so you could interpret it either way, so they can bring anyone back.
Is
if
that
they
their
want
like
to.
death pose? Like, because the lady, she was like this. She's like.
Yeah, she was scared. That's the implication that these are the
how did they recreate that? Like, yeah, I mean, you know.
There's a very evil taxidermist in the Empire who just wants to capture what people actually look like at the moment of their horrifying death, and he reposes them in what he thinks their horrifying last moments were.
He's like some kind of brilliant artist.
Well, he did so many,
artist.
one after the other, that by the end he was just getting creative.
Okay.
He was just having fun with it.
Yeah, because it's not like they froze them in time, like with the Force, and like when they killed all the Jedi, they just they fall over and die, or they explode, and then but they're like,
yeah.
So it's like when you die, like when lightsaber gets you, you just fall down and you barf and you shit yourself, and all sorts of horrible things happen, and then they would be like corpses, like partially decayed corpses. But yeah, they kind of look like they were like beamed in there and instantly frozen. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Or we won't.
Or we won't. I don't know. But I was fascinated with that. I'm like, this kind of neat. I was going to go back to the first episode, the Inquisitors, right? They have a very scene in the beginning when the kids are doing Tai Chi, and then they all run away, and the Jedi lady's like, go this
Follow
way, kids.
me.
Yeah, and then there's like 10 kids, and they're all scared, and then
It looks like a video you would watch at like Star Wars Land before you get on the tram.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was going to go back and look at all those little faces of the little kids, and are those kids the grown-up Inquisitors who were Jedis?
I'm assuming that at the very least the Reaver?
Third sister,
Reaver, that one of them is her.
Riva,
yeah.
That's what I'm presuming.
Yeah, because otherwise that whole opening scene is pointless if it doesn't tie in with anything.
Right.
So I'm assuming that it's going to at least be her because she's so young.
Right. Yeah. And the other characters too. I mean, they're weird. The one guy's like he has a white face. He looks like a Cenobite.
The Jedis are all kind of funky aliens. They're not just human
Oh,
beings.
yeah, that's true. But I was seeing who was in the group. They could have been a funky alien, but they're little kids and they got the helmets on, so you really can't tell. But I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. You know, like some of the what do they call them? Younglings escaped or got scattered around the galaxy and they got corrupted somehow and turned into Inquisitors. Well, whatever. I was going to say, isn't it kind of hypocritical that the Empire would use Force users to wipe out all the Force users?
Oh, the Empire is headed by a cartoon supervillain.
What do we think of Darth Vader nowadays? Is he silly?
Yes. From my perspective, when he showed up on this show, he's silly.
If you can, oh God.
Does he still muster that like fear? Because he was a cartoon villain in the first Star Wars film.
Yes.
He was a one-note villain, much like Riva is. She's so mad. Everyone's mad, and they're I'm gonna get you. I'm bad, and that's fine because the Emperor was that. But he was sort of playful and fun.
We've got 2 episodes. We might get more backstory with her. It might be more personal with her and Kenobi. But
she had a couple little lines when she's talking to Leia, and she's like, "Everything good got taken from me." She's something. I'm like, "Oh, what's this?" Some character. I like that. Give us more. Have some depth to the bad guys.
Episode 4, I'm hoping we'll get more. I am hopeful we will get more with her.
And episode 4, 1977, Darth Vader was bad space villain man. He was Ming the Merciless, whatever, bad guy. Then Empire and Jedi fleshed him out, and that's what made him great. He was scary in the first one, but the second one, it's like, oh, there's something going on.
And then the prequels.
When you see him without his helmet, and for the first time, and they put the helmet on in Empire Strikes Back, you see the back of his scarred head, and you see him vulnerable for a moment, and you're like, oh. So I'm hoping for that, but I don't expect it.
Yeah, no, with Darth Vader in this, when he first showed up at that little village and they have their showdown, I was thinking about their big fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith, which, say what you want about the prequels, there was like an attempt at doing something really dramatically heavy between the two of them. When Obi-Wan's like,
they overdid it.
Well, they overdid it, sure. But that was the goal. And this felt so like light. It's just like, oh, there's Darth Vader. It's like if you saw a guy in a Darth Vader costume at Disneyland or whatever. It's like you never really feel like you're watching an it's just a guy in a Darth Vader costume.
You're saying you don't feel that?
No, not with the show, I don't. I just feel like I'm watching, like I mentioned earlier, like a fan film. That's the best thing that this show has going for it, is the extreme lowered expectations.
This has come, I mean, this and The Mandalorian Season 1 has come the closest to capturing that magic. I am fine with that entire encounter.
I do like that moment in the second episode when Reva, I think Reva is the one that tells him that Anakin's still alive. And it's like, oh yeah, he wouldn't even know that. It's like, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
I wish I would have, I don't know, dwelled on it a little bit more. It feels like it introduces these things, these kind of character beats, but then just sort of keeps moving along and doesn't focus on them quite as much as it should.
I agree with Rich. I was happy with the encounter. Yeah. What is he supposed to do? like really?
I would have been happy if he didn't meet him at all until maybe the end of the season or something.
Yeah, I know. It's a what do you do kind of.
Well, that's mentality. Like I say, like a fan film. You gotta have.
What do you do with an Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show? Right.
The option was, I didn't even think of the Leia connection, which I think is probably the way to do it, because obviously Leia knows who the fuck Obi-Wan Kenobi is. The other thing you could have done, which would have been terrible, was Darth Maul comes back for revenge, and they have a showdown on Tatooine.
That's on its way.
Yeah.
If this survives to season 2 or 3, whatever.
I think this is supposed to be it, just a limited series, and this is it. But it depends on how popular it gets.
I looked it up, and I was curious how many episodes there were, It's season 2. They're talking about season 2.
Oh, there is talk of season 2.
So we'll probably get Obi-Wan versus Robot Leg Man.
Darth Maul with robot legs.
Hey, look.
That kind of yeah. Oh.
That's funny.
But speaking of this, let's talk about little Leia. Little orphan Leia.
She's precocious.
You think being like him will make people frightened of you, but really, you're the one who's scared. You've never made one decision for yourself in your entire life, and you never will.
She's just like herself when she's all grown up. A little bit sassy, and she doesn't take shit from anybody.
I like some of the writing of her character. That actress is in a different show.
That's all you gotta say.
No, I'm not going to attack the child actor. She's fine, but not for this. She feels like she's on like a Disney Junior show.
Fuller House?
Yeah,
she's
something.
She's the new. What was the catchphrase of the Olsen twins?
Oh, you got it, dude.
You got it, dude. She should say
Leia,
that.
go run and hide. You got it, dude.
Leia, go run and hide.
Cowabunga!
Yeah, I think I get it. They showed the little girl Carrie Fisher's performance and said, "Be sassy." And they wrote
well, that
her.
comes across in the writing. They don't need to make her act so cutesy.
That's true, but I don't know. But then, like, the ending of this, when they escape the fortress of doom or whatever, and they're being tracked.
Yeah, I know. They can't.
They let us go.
How many times do I have to say Star Wars is creatively bankrupt?
Tracking us. That's where she learned that, Rich. That's how she knew when they escaped the Death Star that they were tracking, because it happened to her when she was 10.
Oh.
They put a tracking device in her little droid toy. And
her batteries not included droid?
It's like poetry, it rhymes, as Mr. Lucas said, right? They escaped this fortress. They got on a snowspeeder somehow in the back of a snowspeeder.
One of those guys got shot and blowed up, and I was like, oh no, not him.
That guy.
All right, right behind you.
Wait!
Was there room for 4 people in the back of a snowspeeder? Wasn't it just 2 seats that face opposite?
You're running from an entire base full of stormtroopers and evil Jedi. You're gonna make that work. Yes.
I would have liked if they just cut to the interior and they're all just like jammed in one seat.
Someone's face is pressed up against the window. Oh.
And then the lady, the rebel spy lady, she says, "Obi-Wan, is that a lightsaber in your pocket, or are we just crammed in the snowspeeder?" "No, that's my lightsaber. I'm celibate." What? Do you remember the scenes? Do you remember the scenes? Do you remember when Obi-Wan hit her under his trench coat?
That was ridiculous.
It was a little silly looking, huh? A little silly.
Again, that's on another show. That's a kiddie show. Just like the Leia chase from the first episode where she's running from Flea.
I'm okay with that, but once again,
in the forest.
Yeah,
that was really bad. That was really badly done.
Yeah, that was not a good setup for the series.
Lowered expectations.
I know, and that's what's so great about it. It's so cheap. I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? In a weird way.
It's this freeing thing where it's like.
It's freeing.
It's freeing because I don't care. So it's like, if it's kind of funny, that's fine. Because I'm not like angry that it's not. You know, I think some people maybe would want this to be like the quality of a feature film, and it looks like a cheap, shitty TV show. It's like, that's fine. At this point, it doesn't matter anymore.
It looks like an expensive TV show that cut corners wherever it could. Well, to try and be a motion picture. They spent all their money on the obelisk. They cheaped out on the laser gate across the road.
Oh, yeah.
That Obi-Wan and Leia didn't, because they didn't just walk around it.
He had to disable it. Pressing the buttons.
Like Obi-Wan could have he could have just like stepped over it if he really wanted to.
I forgot about all that.
That was like a whole episode.
Their little adventure and the truck driver.
The like pussy face monster guy? Yeah.
The very friendly pro-fascist government truck driving mole.
Right, yeah. And they get in the back and they're riding along with stormtroopers. I loved it.
It's very like kind of allusions to World War II.
Yes, yes. Well, that's what Star Wars
Yeah, they got the
is.
flag on the back of the truck.
Right. This show's sort of like, it feels like a guilty pleasure. Like it's not good, but I love it.
It's not guilty. It's just a pleasure, but it's not super amazing. It's super okay, but it's like super okay, not just okay.
I know, it kind of fucks with your head a little.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's super okay.
It's weird to see Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan. It's weird to see him like fighting like original trilogy stormtroopers. It's like,
This is the bridge.
Shouldn't these be like very bad-looking CGI clone troopers, right? Shouldn't this all look like a terrible green screen? Like he's in a real set? And I'm like,
See, that's why to me it's weird that he's on it just because he's Ewan McGregor and he's like a big actor and this show is so sort of like cheap and funky.
Yeah.
Right, that it feels like, it feels like this should be like a cheaper actor. This is the new Obi-Wan, but they actually got Ewan McGregor.
You got an amazing futuristic city they're walking around in, and then they got a gunfight in a roof where he's like hiding behind like a bucket.
Yeah.
That shootout was borderline comical.
Reva starts doing parkour, but it's all slow and awkward. Yeah.
But it's super okay, and I'm fine with it.
That was any of the action is so slow and awkward. That's my least favorite stuff on the show.
No, I prefer slow and awkward action. I don't know.
Rather than the over-the-top shit.
Yeah.
I prefer this stuff, like especially in that second episode, they're like going around like the alleys and it's very kind of like grimy. Like I like that stuff. Like I wouldn't need any action. Them on the back of the truck with the stormtroopers, just like trying to have a conversation.
Well, then you need to balance that. Like I'm okay with the Star Wars porn aspect of this. In this context, I'm like, okay, it's Obi-Wan. It's Ewan McGregor, he's back. And this is his adventure 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. It's a little cheap. It's not super grandiose.
There's not really a whole lot
This is what
happening.
he's up to. They found a whale in the desert and they're cutting its meat. And that's his job. And he's stealing a little chunk for his elderly, like, pig snout camel.
His alien horse camel,
That's the thing that farts on Jar Jar.
Yeah, and he's riding around on the end of Revenge of the Sith, and now it's older. I thought it was going to die, and I was going to be sad.
Oh.
And I was like,
There's still time. There's 2 episodes left.
He's going to go back and
season 2. Darth Maul will kill it.
Darth Maul. I'm like, don't you hurt the anteater camel. I love that. And he's giving it the whale meat. And his life is miserable.
His relationship with Lars, like he's watching Luke from a distance, tries to give Luke a toy, and Lars is just like, fuck off.
He gives him the toy.
You know what toy it was,
too.
With, yeah.
In a New
Yeah,
Hope.
oh, yeah,
Even
yeah,
though I
yeah,
think the size is all wrong. Is he gonna get in love-making scenes with the new lady? Are we gonna break his celibacy?
I think she's done. I was looking at IMDb, and she's only listed as being in 2 episodes. So I think she's out of the show now, that character.
Oh.
That's weird. Yeah. They could only afford her for a couple days of the shoot. I don't know. She's one of the best performances on the show.
She's good. That scene when she has to there's a couple scenes when she's like, oh shit, I gotta
Is there a problem?
Up my spy game here. When that the snotty security guard's like, wah, 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 and she's like, okay, mister, I'm a, and she's supposed to pull rank. And but then that guy says, come on into my office. You don't belong at this station. Mm-hmm. And it's like this big room. And then she goes into a room and then they cut this body and he's like hidden behind a box in clear view of everyone else. And she's like, I had a problem, but I took care of it. And then there's people just working and people coming and going. But she beat him up and then dragged him back into the room that she's currently in with other people, or beat him up in the room and the people sitting at the consoles 10 feet away didn't hear anything. It was really weird. It was really weird. I'm gonna pull up the sequence of events.
Yeah. The room was full of people when he dragged her away, but we cut back and we see his dead body. There's no one else in the room but her. So the room mysteriously emptied of people before she killed him?
I thought I saw other people, but we'll find out.
I think it's empty, though. It's empty when we cut back to her and he's dead.
Okay.
It's just her in the room.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think. I could easily be wrong.
You did just watch it 30 minutes ago, so I'm going to trust your judgment more than Mike's.
So what's the plot of this show? Obi-Wan?
He has to protect Leia, little baby Leia.
Because
they're really after Obi-Wan, though. She's just bait.
She's bait. Reva captures her because she looked in the computer files in the libraries. She says this. And she found a connection between Obi-Wan and Basil Organa. Basil Organa, little Leia's adopted father.
Good old Jimmy Smits, he's back.
Who's a senator in the Republic, but they don't care because she's out on a mission to get Jedis because she's ambitious.
She's going rogue.
Yes. She kills another Inquisitor. She wants to get to the top of the corporate ladder. Vader offers her a cozy position in the Empire if she gets all the Jedis, and she's ambitious and angry, and she says, I'm going to kidnap little Princess Leia and use her as bait to draw out Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really want to get him. And then Obi-Wan says, oh boy, I got to get little Leia. Then
everybody awkwardly runs through hallways.
Moves from location to location.
That's it.
Until, well, we haven't seen the last 2 episodes, but then little Leia learns that the Empire does sneaky things like let you escape their impenetrable fortresses because they track you and they follow where you go.
You're sure the homing beacon is secure aboard their ship? I'm taking an awful risk, Vader. This had better work.
That's where she learned that when she was 10. That's why she was so like, I thought that kind of ruins Princess Leia. I thought she was just super fucking smart in episode 4. She's like,
it doesn't matter anymore.
Han Solo's like a dummy, you know. He's like a smuggler. He's like, how about that? Yeah, we have fucking escaped. And she's like, you moron. That's the fucking Death Star. They let us go. They're obviously tracking us. I'm like, wow, she is a smart lady. No.
Not a bad bit of rescuing, huh? You know, sometimes I amaze even myself.
That doesn't sound too hard. They let us go. It's the only explanation for the ease of our escape.
She learned that trick when she was 10.
They do kind of, in A New Hope, the way she records her little message on R2-D2.
Yes.
And she's like, Obi-Wan, years ago, you helped my father in the bubble.
Served my father in the Clone Wars.
She talks about it as if she does not know him, has never met him, but now, I guess they went on a little adventure together.
I've seen...
But again, none of it matters anymore.
On the internet, I've seen Star Wars nerds scramble to make sense of that.
Okay.
And I've seen some conversations where they say Princess Leia in 1977 intentionally made it seem like she didn't know who Obi-Wan was or didn't have a close affiliation with him in case the message happened to get intercepted by the Empire.
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire.
I'll have to rewatch this. Does she actually phrase it like she has no idea who the fuck he is?
No, she goes,
not that she doesn't know who he is, but that like she's never met him or anything.
Obi-Wan.
She's not like, Obi-Wan, when I was a little kid, you helped me on my adventure.
Says, I believe she says, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
We need your help, blah, blah, blah.
Talking to him in a way where you would think that she's never met him
Like you're
before.
calling your great uncle that you've never met.
Yeah.
Your great uncle knew your father years ago.
I'll have to rewatch this. This doesn't sound like enough of a discrepancy to get bent out of shape over.
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
It's not. I don't care.
But it's one of those things where it's like this show existing is just like, now it's a thing that is introduced that doesn't quite line up with the original movies. But again, this is cheap junk and it doesn't matter anymore. This is what Star Wars is now.
Can't you say that about the entire franchise, though? I mean, there's no point for any of it. They told the story and you just can't die. And you gotta keep making Star Wars.
Everybody's frozen in amber for future use.
Well, if you think about it, when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader meet on the Death Star in A New Hope, it's sort of just like
oh, they met again.
He's like, I was once the learner, but now I am the master.
Even more so than the last time we fought 10 years ago. Yeah.
So, at last we meet for the first time for the last time.
Holy Master of Evil, dog. Like, it wasn't like Obi-Wan was like, dun, dun, Anakin, you're alive. It's
the
like,
reason he's not freaking out in A New Hope is because he's getting his freak out of the way now.
Exactly. So it's fine. I really don't care anymore. It's all fine. It's all
That's
fine.
the key. It's just, it doesn't matter anymore. Which is sort of weird. I mean, this thing, Star Wars, started as this like cultural phenomenon, and now it's just like product. It's like something that, yeah, it's meant to fill a slot on a schedule for Disney Plus.
It has a loyal fan base that just eat it up. They love it.
It's so great to have you here with us on board the Halcyon. I know that we at Walt Disney Imagineering have been working with Lucasfilm and you for years developing the backstory of the Halcyon.
Yeah, now we're here in person, you know, really getting to experience what this thing we've had in our brains has been for so many years.
I thought after the sequel trilogy and like Rise of Skywalker being so fucking bad, I assumed that I assumed it was over as far as like diehard Star Wars fans, people that's identity, their whole personality is I like Star Wars.
It's almost like
I thought it dissipated, but it hasn't.
It's just like a cult.
It's a cult.
Yeah. Same with Star Trek now.
I got in my Twitter thing. It was endless, like the exact same comment over and over and over, like the mantra of a cult.
Star Trek fans used to be more intelligent and thoughtful and independently minded. Now it's Star Trek fans are more similar to the Star Wars fans, where they'll attack you and scream at you if you don't like what everything that's put out. You can't think independently.
If you say, yeah.
I like the new Star Wars show 1 billion times more than I like the Star Trek show. Yeah. I'm sure there are people who think this Obi-Wan show is the worst thing ever, and people who think it's the greatest thing ever, and whatever. We'll just discuss it. It has its flaws, and it has some great things about it. To me, it's a guilty pleasure. It's fun, and it's bad at the same time. It's cheesy. I think George Lucas would be proud of it.
Like, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not overjoyed, but pleased.
So your little hearts don't skip a beat when the Star Wars comes up.
No, that means nothing to me.
And then the title card.
That's long gone.
Remember that? And then you're like, and then the title card fades into the stars.
We're so far past that, it doesn't even matter anymore.
John Williams scored, and then the camera pans down. What great cinematic adventure are we gonna? Now it's just like. Just eating popcorn or sitting there.
Obi-Wan has to make it to the end of that hallway, I guess. That's the whole episode.
That I wanted to talk about real quick, because I know this is running long, although we've edited it. We've been here for 5 hours. TV. Can we talk real quick about TV? Because me and Jay were talking about this, on how I hate everything. Well, no. Certain TV it's either completely successful or a complete scam job. When movies came out, you would pay admission to go watch a movie.
Yes.
And that's how they would make the money, right?
Yes.
And whether it was good or bad, it would be better for them if it was good, because then more people would go see it and they'd make more money. But if it was bad, they still got your money. TV shows, right?
Uh-huh.
Watch a TV show on your TV, and they would have something called commercial breaks, right? An hour-long program would be 40 minutes with commercials peppered throughout, and that's how they would make their money. How do streaming services make their money?
They just get the money, whether or not it's good or bad.
By having shelves and shelves of content that
was a comparison you made on half in the bag, treating it like a buffet.
A buffet.
You just keep it stocked.
Right, but even more specifically now is, we've got the Obi-Wan show. Mm-hmm. You don't get to watch commercials. You have to pay your monthly fee to pay for the subscription. But there's going to be 8 episodes of the Obi-Wan show, 10 episodes of the Obi-Wan show. They don't care that you watch all 8 because there's no ad breaks. Mm-hmm. They just have it on the shelf. So they could have a story that would fit into 1 hour and stretch it.
But that's, yeah.
And I'm seeing that Stranger Things in particular, this latest season, it's like oh my God, how long does this take? Everything takes so long. And the Obi-Wan, like you said, nothing happens in this episode.
Yeah, it seems more noticeable, less in like an ongoing series and more with what the limited series. Like Obi-Wan is supposed to be a limited series. It's not supposed to be like a season 2, season 3.
Right.
So it's like, well, we don't have a whole lot of story, but we want to release episodes weekly. Let's stretch it out. The Dropout on Hulu about
I didn't see that.
The Theranos lady. Stretch it all out.
Right.
So many of those feel like that, where it's like this all needs to be condensed.
And then there's weird examples of where it's perfect, where it's like based on a book or something, and it's like 6 hours long, and it's very detailed, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and it seems like it's worth those 8 hours, 6-8 hours of entertainment.
Too much for a movie,
right?
But not enough, but not so little that you have to stretch it out.
Yeah,
it's like perfect.
Something like the It would have been a great like limited 10 hours. They did 2 feature films. Yeah. This is before the pandemic, before movies are dead, but It would have made a great like series on one of the streaming, Amazon or Netflix.
That's a
or something.
big missed opportunity.
Right. I know they did The Stand.
I still haven't watched
Plus,
that. I don't think it did very well.
Certain things, and then there's certain things where it feels like you're being taken. It's just, you're just like, okay, come on, hurry up. What are you saying here? Why does this scene take 15 minutes? Nothing's happening. Oh, because I'm being conned.
That's why it's shocking to me that this Obi-Wan show only has 2 episodes left. Because I feel like not a whole lot has happened.
That's my only real like big complaint. I love the fact that the show looks cheap. I love the fact that I feel bad for watching it. Like I'm doing something wrong, and I feel bad for enjoying it. I feel bad.
Who's in the gutter now?
I think the cheapness does work to the show's benefit. I think when you talk about like this pacing issues you have with streaming shows, I think this type of format is relatively new with streaming services, and we don't need ads. I think quality is going to go up over time.
Do you remember A Christmas Story?
Yeah.
That's what streaming shows are. No, they're.
I know what you're getting at.
Ralphie and his Little Orphan Annie decoder ring.
Pierre was in great voice tonight. I could tell that tonight's message was really important.
He'd have to listen to every episode of Little Orphan Annie to find a new thing to put in his decoder ring, and at the end it says, "Make sure you drink your Ovaltine."
It's just an ad, yeah.
And he's like, "I waited, 6 months for that." That's what shows are. I watched 6 weeks of this show for nothing.
To family, then, because that's what we are, after all.
Ovaltine?
Son of a bitch. I went out to face the world again, wiser.
There's that anticipation that the next episode, things will really get going.
Yes, it's a con. In some cases, it's really not a con, but in most cases, it is.
I think we're in the early days of, we gotta have a streaming service!
Well, that's the thing, is like everybody...
We need a product! We need product! That was gonna be a movie? We'll make it long and put it on a TV show now!
We need 12 shows to appeal to keep the Star Wars fans subscribed to Disney Plus. They're 38% of our subscribers. The other 62 are people who want to watch kid shit.
7 years from now, everyone will have their shit together, and they'll know exactly how to produce content appropriately.
Everything will be consolidated to 4 or 5 streaming services instead of 120.
Sure.
And there'll be a new Obi-Wan show. Another one in 7 years. The Further Adventures of Obi-Wan.
With CGI Guinness.
Yeah. Luke will be 16, and he'll have an adventure with Obi-Wan. And then he just won't talk about it in A New Hope. That old man's just a crazy old wizard. He said something about Ben Kenobi? Yeah, some crazy old wizard. I had a fucking adventure with him 2 years ago. We stormed the pre-Death Star and blew it up.
There'll be something hidden in the show, though, that says that in A New Hope, he's pretending to not know it, right?
In case the Empire's listening in on frequency.
Sure.
He was faking it the whole time, all the way up until when he's talking to his ghost in Return of the Jedi. My ghost is going to sit on this log and have a chat with you, Luke.
We need a streaming limited series to explain why Force ghosts can sit on logs. Is that coming soon to Disney Plus?
Force ghosts just pretending.
He was just pretending to sit on the log, so Luke felt more comfortable having a discussion with a ghost.
All right. Well, we need 8 episodes to explain that.
Is Liam Neeson going to have a cameo at the end of this?
Yes.
I'm assuming so. I've been waiting for it. They brought him up once already.
Because they mentioned the Force talking with Qui-Gon. He's going to say, Qui-Gon, Master. That'll be the end.
He's got his faith back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then he shows up. He sees him in the distance.
They made a point of showing that in the recap of the prequels.
In your solitude, training I have for you, your old master. How to commune with him, I will teach you.
Yeah.
Commune with Qui-Gon, you will. And then he's like, Master Qui-Gon, where are you? And then he doesn't get a response. And at the end, Obi-Wan will be beaten to a pulp by Darth Vader and Reva and all the and Qui-Gon will appear and say, "Use the Force, Luke."
I meant Obi-Wan. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. How does Liam Neeson sound? You've been taken. How does he sound? He'll appear like in the distance. It'll be like that scene, you know. Well, it'll be like the moment in.
I'm a Force ghost. I have a very specific set of talents, and I will haunt you.
Now take the fucking elephant.
Take the fucking
I will haunt you. Leia's been taken. It's the perfect job for Liam Neeson.
Oh my God! This should have been a Qui-Gon show.
It should have been. Yeah. Qui-Gon's ghost comes and gets you. I have a specific set of skills as a Force ghost. We're being Reva's all pissed. We're being beaten by a fucking ghost. This is not what was supposed to happen. I was supposed to be Darth Vader's right-hand man, lady.
And everyone says, Reva, settle down. You're only like 18 years old. You got plenty of time ahead of you.
A crummy commercial? Son of a bitch.
Anakin Skywalker is alive.
They made me care about the most boring character in all of Star Wars. I applaud this show. It's a major achievement.
What are you talking about? Qui-Gon hasn't shown up yet.
Obi-Wan was worse.
You think?
Yeah.
Maybe I just like Ewan McGregor.
Obi-Wan was Ewan McGregor's a fine actor. Obi-Wan was a terrible character who had no personality for 3 movies other than he was very proper. That was his personality trait.
He was best friends with Anakin.
No, he wasn't.
They were best friends.
Did you watch those movies?
They
never
went on
got
all
along,
sorts of
yet they were
adventures
great
together
friends.
that we never saw.
God, I hate this movie so fucking much.
You just wish it was done differently, right? Like Obi-Wan could have been a great character.
He could have been, yeah.
I mean,
well, that's why I was interested in this show, because I think they had the right actor in what could have been the right part, and it was like a wasted opportunity. This show was a chance to do more with him, and they've kind of done that.
They have done more with it. They're not doing terribly much, but they've done a lot more with it.
You're looking for somebody else.
What are you doing here, Obi-Wan?
My name is Ben.
Yeah, I like the restraint where he's out of touch with being a Jedi. He's trying to move like a little tiny thing. He doesn't take his lightsaber out for 3 episodes. He doesn't do the Force mind trick on the stormtroopers on the bus, you know? Like he was in the.
He probably knows he can't yet.
Those aren't the droids you're looking for.
He's lost his mojo.
Well, yeah, maybe he can't even do it, and so, or he's so hesitant to use any Force power ever to set on a red flag.
It feels like a little bit of both.
Right, and then so that's some interestingness going on.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the bar is so low in television. I'm just scrambling for anything.
No, all that stuff is genuinely interesting.
Yeah,
that's what's weird though, is the contrast between that and the like awkward cheapness.
The awkward cheapness is great. It's a benefit. It's a positive, because it's not watching them fight on Mustafar for 45 minutes in a spectacular show. I was thinking about that when I was watching The Northman, I was going to bring this up. I think I
the
mentioned in my review of the Revenge of the Sith, where it's like, all we need is 30 seconds of them fighting on the lava planet, and the end at
that's what you
the
get at the end of the
Northman.
Northman, yeah.
It's like perfect. It's he shows up and he's like, "Bleh," and the other guy's like, "Bleh," and then they clang swords for like a minute and a half, and then there's some stabbings and beheadings, and then it ends.
Anakin wasn't nude when they were fighting, though.
No, they weren't.
So that was a little
They
different.
didn't strip down their nudies, but they didn't have to flip around on giant things melting in lava, falling off,
surfing on hovers.
Oh yeah, they jump on those.
It was so stupid.
Oh God!
It was, and so when Vader and Obi-Wan's like, oh my God, what? Vader's here? He probably doesn't even know what his suit looks like. He probably sensed that it was Anakin. He's like, oh my God, you look like a robot monster. And then Obi-Wan just is like, oh my God. And then they hit the swords. And like you said, Vader's, he was fighting one-handed.
Yeah.
I noticed that. And he did that in Empire.
Yeah.
He fought Luke one-handed because he wasn't trying to kill Luke. So he's just like, I'm Vader. I'm awesome. You can't stop me. And he was doing the same thing with Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, oh my God.
He doesn't feel like he has to put any effort into fighting him.
Yeah, because he's Darth Vader. He really didn't. And he wasn't really trying to kill Obi-Wan. But, and so, yeah, them just fighting for a minute and then him running away. I was like, that's great. I don't know. I kind of love it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. This is a triumph.
It's a triumph for Star Wars.
This is a triumph for Star Wars.
Get back to its roots of being cheap.
Considering all of the horse shit that Star Wars has been since the 90s, this is a triumph.
I would say that The Mandalorian is a much better example of what you could do in this universe with this kind of budget. That's the first season of that show is genuinely good.
Yeah.
This show is crap and it's sporadically entertaining.
But it is going back to the roots a little, and you could say that it's rehashing, because that's your big complaint with Star Wars, is that it's creatively bankrupt. And this is proof that that's true, because the only thing they could think of to do is, we're hunting down Obi-Wan and we got to rescue little Leia from a space prison, which is the fucking New Hope, essentially, and it's the same thing.
Episode 4 is basically them on the Death Star. Or them on, the Death Star.
So it's, but like, that's what it is.
But I'm entertained, and I'm not sitting there miserable.
That's another benefit to the first season of The Mandalorian, though, is that it's not, I mean, it's still still a Boba Fett looking character, but it's new characters.
Right.
It's just set in that world, but now we're back to, little baby Leia and all that.
Oh, season 1 of The Mandalorian was better than this. Yes.
But if they do a season 2, then it's going to be a member-berry nightmare world of Darth Mauls and everything coming back, and they'll fuck it up, is what I'm trying to say. So enjoy this first little chunk of Obi-Wan fun, and move on with your life. That's what I'm going to do. That's what, they'll screw something up.
Thumbs up, I guess.
Rich, you're the Roman Emperor.
That's true. When it comes to Star Wars stuff, you're the most cynical and removed from it. So.
Well, here's the thing: the things I tend to like with Star Wars, all the Star Wars fans hate.
That's true.
And when Star Wars fans hate something,
that's like everybody hated what they did with Luke in The Last Jedi, even though it was the most interesting thing in the movie. Everybody was upset about that. So I think there's complaints about this show too, kind of doing to Obi-Wan what they did to Luke in The Last Jedi, where he's like a loser. It's like, well, you gotta have somewhere for him to go.
The Jedi
he has to grow throughout the season.
All have creepy cult personalities, and you need to do something to make them interesting. And having them fallen, that's interesting, and that's why Rian Johnson stole my idea and didn't give me any credit for it. But it's also what all the Star Wars fans seem to hate.
Yeah.
So I get the bitching about it.
Yeah, I think they're finding a common ground here, where Luke Skywalker never fought with a lightsaber in The Last Jedi. in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
His just a projection, astral projection of him did.
Mhm.
And so that's where. So Obi-Wan is both fallen and kind of pathetic, but at the same time he's still swinging his saber around and chopping up stormtroopers.
He's trying to get his mojo back.
Obi-Wan got his mojo back. So
that would be a better episode name for the series. How Obi-Wan got his mojo back.
Yeah,
That's great.
so they found that line. They're like, fans want to see Luke Skywalker chop up stormtroopers and save the day, not be a ghost.
But he can't be a boring,
die.
emotionless motherfucker either.
Yes, exactly. Right. That's why I think Obi-Wan's going to be smooching on that lady. Because she's a lady, and he's a man, and they're going to fall in love, and he's going to say, but it's forbidden.
No, she's going to get chopped up by Darth Vader.
I can't imagine Obi-Wan Kenobi doing anything wrong.
It's just Ben these days.
Well, Tala.
He's gonna say it's forbidden of the Jedi Order that I fall in love. Look what happened to Anakin. She said, the Jedi aren't really around anymore. Come in the back of my snowspeeder. There's plenty of room.
Come in the back of my horse camel.
How many times have I heard that?
I can't be with you. I have to go back to this desert planet and stalk this 10-year-old for the rest of my life.
I got to creep on a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
They'll smooch, though. They'll have a smooch, and they'll say, I would, but I can't. I have greater duty, and it's to creep on,
a 10-year-old boy.
Jared Fogle, A Star Wars Story.
I have to bring some of this Subway meat back to my camel feed my anteater's camel nose with Subway meat.
No wonder those things have gas.
That's from all the whale blubber Obi-Wan's been feeding. Yeah. So he's smooching on the lady, and he's going to say, our love is forbidden. I'll still give you a smooch so that we tone down that creepy celibate thing that Obi-Wan has and make him a little more relatable. But he'll say, I can't because I have taken a strict oath to be a Jedi, and I'm going to stick with it even if we're all wiped out. Sorry, lady. But he's got to go back to Tatooine after saving little Leia. Goes back to the parade. And she's waving from her floating space car at the parade on Alderaan. By the way, get out of Alderaan pretty soon, everybody, okay? Leia, tell everyone, I read the next script and it's not looking good for Alderaan, okay? Yeah, we'll be back to see the conclusion, see if do we have predictions. Little Leia will get, what's the final battle? Will Reva get impaled by Obi-Wan's lightsaber? Will he bump her off? What about the other Inquisitors? Will Obi-Wan defeat them in battle?
Darth Vader has to show up again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any specific predictions. Normally I'm full
There's
of
so little story to the show that I don't really care.
That's why, I mean, that's kind of why it works in a way. It's just simple fun. It's not trying to do too much. That's fine. Just
doesn't make it very engaging. Like, I wonder what's going to happen next. I don't really care. I'll continue watching it. It's watchable.
It's super okay.
Yeah.
Check it out, everybody. It's super okay.